Hey there guys, it's Tina and I'm back for another car chat. When was the last time I said that? Oh my god, it's been so long since I did a car chat video, but we are back for a special edition simply because Morphe has closed all their brick and mortar stores, and a lot of people have reached out to me asking for my thoughts. What do you think, Tina? What's going on? Like, why did they do this? Oh my god, we want you to rant and rave. The thing about it is, I don't care that much to really rant and rage about it, but you know, we'll talk. Let's talk. So that's what this car chat is about. How are you guys doing? Did you miss car chats? I know a lot of people reach out to me. They're like, bring back car chats. We love car chats. And I love car chats too, but sometimes there's not that much to talk about. And it's also hot in Florida. So for those of you who don't know, I have moved to Florida. It is hot. It is currently 77 degrees, but it is sunny, so it is hot, okay? I'm not trying to be in a car. I'm not driving anywhere because I work from home, but let's not digress. So, Morphe has shut down all their brick and mortar stores, meaning the stores that you could physically go into to purchase Morphe products, as well as the other brands that they feature on their website, whether it was Jeffree Star, Suva Beauty, Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics, I think Lunar Beauty was also there, and a few other miscellaneous brands you could purchase in store at Morphe rather than simply shopping online. And now they've decided to close all those stores, much to the chagrin and surprise of a lot of their employees. They made a post on Twitter on January 5th saying, "We have made the difficult decision to close all Morphe stores in the US. We're forever grateful to our store teams for their passion, talent, and dedication over the years. Customers can continue to shop Morphe online and at select retailers. Morphe stores outside the US will remain open." So their website is still up and running. You can shop through their website, and they're having tons of sales, and they're also still being sold at Ulta stores, and they're also apparently stores internationally that will remain open. So this affects the US based stores. And I want to give you a little bit of history about Morphe before we dive into talking about things. I will leave links down below so you can read the articles that I am referencing. So this is from Beauty Matter, and it's written by Kelly Kovac. So Morphe was founded in 2008, and there is some discrepancy about whether it was purchased or founded by the siblings Chris and Linda Tawil. Their names are synonymous with Morphe, especially Linda. So they're a brother and sister duo that pretty much acquired Morphe in 2008, and it started out as a trade show based brush company. So they would go to different cosmetics, makeup, and beauty industry trade shows and sell their makeup brushes. And there's also some discussion that goes back and forth whether or not Crown Brushes, which is another brush manufacturer, if they were the manufacturer that were supplying the brushes to Morphe, who would then private label the brushes. There's back and forth with that. Back in the day, that's kind of how a lot of cosmetics and makeup companies started. So I don't see the big deal with that, but that's just some history, some little, some mutterings behind the scenes. But they started out at trade shows, and that's pretty well established. Once the business started gaining some traction from trade shows, they opened up an e-commerce website where they sold their brushes but also expanded into cosmetics. They were selling these large, I believe there were 28 pan eyeshadow palettes. Yes, I believe that's the size of them, but they were the larger eyeshadow palettes that definitely give private label vibes. Let's be honest, these are just like stock palettes that you can find from various manufacturers in China, which is where they were originally manufactured. And I think to this day, most, if not all, of their products are still manufactured in China. Morphe also opened up their flagship retail store. This was their first brick and mortar store in the LA area in California, where the company was founded. And there's almost like a serendipitous collision between the growth of Morphe and the boom of the beauty influencer here on YouTube. Morphe ended up being one of the first brands to take notice of how influential and how impactful beauty creators were on the retail space. They were one of the first to notice that content creators can really sell products, so they capitalized on that influence, and thus was the birth of the beauty influencer and affiliate marketing. Morphe's almost synonymous with affiliate marketing because they were one of the first brands to really push affiliate marketing as much as they did. And that merger of the beauty influencer and the beauty brand was born, either to the delight or detriment of the beauty community and beauty consumers. So with this affiliate marketing, Morphe really exploded. They had large beauty influencers in their pockets. So they started out with Jaclyn Hill, and I don't know how many of you may remember this, but Jaclyn had done a video where she went shopping in a Morphe store. She shared her haul and she mentioned just how cheap these eyeshadows were. Back in the day, we were price conscious, okay? We were looking for the cheapest eyeshadows. We were looking for dupes of higher end products because we weren't trying to spend the price that these higher end brands were charging, especially MAC. MAC was like the catalyst for a lot of these brands. So Morphe started replicating like matte brushes and so on. And then they had their eyeshadow singles. So Jaclyn went in store. She did like a major haul, and she was comped this haul, by the way. So Jaclyn did this haul. She was talking about these eyeshadows. Oh my God, they're so cheap. They were like $1 or $2 a piece, and they are so pigmented. She was comparing them to MAC. It was a whole to-do, right? And that video made such an impact that the eyeshadows were flying off the shelves. People were visiting the store. They were calling in. They were online, almost crashing the site. And this is back in the day when Morphe was a lot smaller, so they weren't ready for the influx of sales. And Linda, having the foresight, said, oh, I see what is happening here. We can make this a thing. We can make money for all parties involved. So Jaclyn and Morphe collaborated on a Jaclyn's favorite palette, where she went in and picked out single eyeshadows that she loved and created her palette of favorites. So these were existing shades, all right? She didn't create this from scratch. Existing shades that she just popped into a 28 pan eyeshadow palette, and they sold that as their first collaboration. That was the original Jaclyn Hill palette. This palette sold out so quickly that Morphe knew they had a winner on their hands, and they went on to do various other collaborations with Jaclyn Hill, but also with other large influencers. They took on the likes of Jeffree Star and James Charles, which were up-and-coming influencers that, again, they saw how popular these influencers were, and they were going for the big hitters. They also collaborated with Laura Lee and Manny MUA, again, these up-and-coming stars that people knew and loved. And they knew that if they had these people back in their brand, then they would be sure to have sales out the wazoo. And that was when influencer marketing was really able to take off, because they were able to incentivize these beauty influencers with affiliate codes that would give them a kickback if you use their code. So it will give the consumer, whoever was making the purchase, a discount on that purchase, and it would also give a kickback to the beauty influencers whose code you used for that discount. So it was really a win-win situation for the consumer and for the beauty influencer. They could talk about products, influence you to purchase them, you use their discount code, so you get some money off your purchase, but in return, they get some kickback from the company as well. So now this was a great way for influencers to make money on top of whatever they were earning through AdSense on YouTube, which, to be honest, was not that much in the beginning. That has since changed, and you can make a pretty profitable living now now on YouTube, but some people wanted to supplement that AdSense revenue, and who could blame them? Who wouldn't want additional streams of revenue that were somewhat passive? Just having your affiliate code out there would mean that you would be making a substantial amount of money each month, in addition to your sponsorships, whatever collabs you were doing, and your AdSense. And these influencers were raking it in. The problem was consumers weren't very aware of this marketing tactic. They didn't know that the influencers were getting a kickback. They thought they were just getting a discount code because the influencers somehow had a relationship with the brand that would give you a benefit, not realizing that we're all gonna benefit here. The brand is gonna make money, the influencer is gonna make money, and you're gonna get a discount on your purchase. You're the one spending the money, but it was framed in a way that you thought you were winning. And that's what kind of kicked off the drama community here on YouTube as well. Sam from Hair for the Tea, rest in peace. She was the one that called out the foolishness. She's the one that called out affiliate marketing and that these influencers were getting a kickback from you using their code. So Morphe was behind this whole thing. It was a whole fiasco, but that's how they really blew up, right? Working with beauty influencers. They worked with big names. They were on these large channels. They were mentioned in almost every other video. You couldn't go through a video from these larger influencers without them pushing their Morphe code. It was a situation, okay? But Morphe was capitalizing on that, and they formed relationships with those really big influencers, and they really made a killing. And I'm gonna give credit where credit is due, because Jaclyn Hill was really the first beauty influencer that showed the power of collaborations. She collaborated with Morphe and the products flew off the shelves. Like, she would just mention a product and it would sell out. And her collaborations, oh my god, they were out of stock in like minutes. People were waiting for restocks. They were joining lines. It was a whole thing. And that kept on evolving and getting larger and larger until we had like a climax with the Jeffree Star collaboration with, what's his name? Shane Dawson, Shameless Dawson. That collaboration really took Morphe by storm. They were already collaborating with Jeffree Star to sell his cosmetics in stores, and he was also helping to open Morphe stores. So the thing about Morphe and this influencer marketing is that when they did a store opening, it was an event. Like, it was a big production. No other stores really saw this kind of grand opening. I mean, Sephora, Ulta, if you open an Ulta down the street, ain't nobody lining up. But Morphe stores, when they had these influencers show up for the grand opening, child, there were lines, okay? Lines around the block just to see these influencers at these grand openings. And guess what? They would be selling out products in those stores. So Morphe was booming and growing, and they were just opening stores left and right across the US. They started out in LA just with their single little store. They expanded and had a couple stores in California. But child, they expanded so much so that they went international, okay? They were opening stores in London and other countries. And it was just like Morphe was taking the beauty space by storm. They were competing against the likes of Ulta and Sephora. Remember, Ulta and Sephora are huge beauty retail stores, and we have Morphe up and coming with just select brands in store that were blowing them out the water. It was like a phenomenon. It was quite a time to live through, and then the implosion happened. Child, the scandalo, okay? So the drama community started because of Morphe and their affiliate marketing, and then it kind of started the downfall of Morphe as well, because the influencers that they were collaborating with, these large influencers, ended up in scandals, okay, that were no longer just fun drama. It was now the racism of Jeffree Star and his sordid past and his horrible behavior, paired with Shane Dawson. They did their collaboration palette. Listen, Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, that collaboration palette made Morphe millions. I mean, sold out, lines around the block again. It was crazy. It was seriously like a crazy time in the beauty community. It was quite a sight to behold. Like, I went into my local mall in Long Island and I saw the line at Morphe wrapping around the mall, and I'm like, you guys are insane. And I've been around when MAC did their launches and I joined lines, so I know the vibe, but like, it was times 100. It was really nuts. But Morphe really made a killing throughout those like high performing years. But those same influencers ended up being the downfall of Morphe. Jeffree Star, with his racist past and current, and his overall abhorrent behavior and how he treats people, along with Shane Dawson and his racist past. Like, come on, are you serious? Did you see the videos he created? And let's not even get into the pedophilia and like the child porn pretty much that he was creating, like sexualizing children. Oh, just sickening. Then you had the fallout with Jeffree Star and Manny Emiway and Laura Lee and that whole fiasco, Dramageddon 1. That was another layer on top of it because it exposed Jeffree Star as this toxic person. Then we have James Star. I just called him James Star twice. James Charles, which was kind of the influencer that would come save the day. He was on the tail end of Jaclyn Hill and her failed collaboration with Morphe. Listen, okay, Jaclyn Hill built Morphe up to where it was, and she was a part of the reason they failed because she did a collaboration with them. It pretty much failed because influencers that got the products in PR were bashing the quality from the onset. But here's the thing, Morphe products were never that great to begin with, but her collaboration, that collaboration with the 4 12-pan eyeshadow palettes, got bashed by the influencers in the beauty space, and that launch tanked, okay? It was a whole fiasco. I'm not getting into it, but she helped to tank Morphe. But James Charles was supposed to be the redemption, right? Because he was new, he was up and coming, he was younger, he was vibrant, he was hitting with the newer generation of beauty lovers. Lo and behold, his whole scandal came out too. Child, we don't even want to get into it, but he had a whole Dramageddon 2 with Jeffree Star and Tati Westbrook, and they were accusing him of being like a predator. He was accused of grooming heterosexual men and younger fans. So that was like its whole thing. Again, I'm telling you, it moved from like fun drama. It was like, oh my god, I can't believe that there are affiliate codes that aren't being mentioned. Oh my god, I can't believe this one isn't friends with that one anymore. To racism and pedophilia to grooming. Like, what the hell happened, right? So we have all these large influencers with all their skeletons in the closet falling out, and Morphe took the hit, okay? They took a hit, and they took the hit right around the pandemic in 2020 when the world shut down and retail businesses were suffering from people not purchasing products as frequently or en masse as they used to. So not only did they have to recalibrate their relationships with these large influencers that were really bringing them money, but now they hit a wall with the pandemic, stores closing down, there were supply chain issues, delivery issues, the whole world was coming to an end pretty much, so they took a hit there as well. Now here's the thing, in 2019, I believe, let me double check that I have the year right. So in 2019, right before the pandemic, right, a private equity firm called General Atlantic, they purchased a 60% stake in Morphe Cosmetics. So majority stake, the company was valued at $2.2 billion at that time. Now, the valuation is a little bit different from what their assets and their equity and their actual revenue is. It's really like a future projection, right? So they value it at $2.2 billion because they anticipate that it's going to make that much money, right? Morphe was on track to making $500 million in net sales at that time of the valuation, with about $130 million in earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, which really isn't that much when you compare it to the $2.2 billion, but that's neither here here nor there. I'm not a business professional. I don't know the ins and out of it. I just know those are the numbers that are being stated in 2019. And then boom, the pandemic hit in 2020. In addition to all those scandals that they had to deal with, and they had to sever ties with some of their largest influencers, Jeffree Star and James Charles. Like, it was a whole fiasco. Now, Forma Brands was formed in 2020, which is interesting that it formed in the midst of the pandemic. This was the business's aim at diversification. So Forma was created as like an umbrella brand who would also be an incubator for other brands. So this business acquired Lipstick Queen and Playa, as well as Bad Habit. They also launched Morphe 2, which was a sub-brand under Morphe. They also have, fittingly, Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics under that umbrella. This was in 2020. We're now in 2023, and they are already in talks about declaring Chapter 11 bankruptcy since 2022. So 2 years later, all right? 2 years later, they are considering filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, that doesn't mean the company is completely shutting down. It's going out of business. Chapter 11 bankruptcy is a restructuring of their debt. So they're in talks with people who they own money, right? They're trying to restructure the debt and try to figure out a way out of this hole that they've dug themselves into. I really don't think there's much of a way out, but you know, whatever, that's not my place, that's not my business. And after all that, we're finally talking about them closing their brick and mortar stores. Guys, you see, this is why I can't do these videos, because I end up giving you like a full breakdown, the full brand history. Like, I'm going through the whole shebang. I want to give you details because I lived through it and I love talking about this stuff, okay? So now it's 2023 and Morphe has issued that statement about closing all their brick and mortar stores officially. Like, everything is shut down. The bad thing about it is that they gave their employees very short notice. Some people found out same day. It's on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I don't watch TikTok. I don't have time. So this is secondhand information, all right? I've seen the videos popping up here or there. I've seen other channels talk about it. So they shut the company down with limited to no warning to their employees. So it's like having a job today and finding out that next week you're unemployed, all right? There's very little that they're gonna get in a severance package. I don't know if you've ever been with a company that shut down and had to give you severance pay. So how it works is it's based on tenure, right? So the longer you've been with the company, the larger your package and payout will be, right? So if you've only been with the company for 6 months, don't expect to get a 6-month payout of your salary. That's not gonna happen. They'll probably give you a week per year. So the fact that a lot of these employees didn't get a really great severance package is not very surprising to me, since the turnover rate for employees in retail stores is really high. Like, I don't expect these employees to be staying with the company for 10 plus years. Plus, Morphe hasn't been around that long for you to have 20 years in the company for you to get a really huge severance package. You know what I mean? So that wasn't really surprising to me. What's really surprising and really shitty about them is that they didn't tell the employees ahead of time so they could have adequate time to hunt for new jobs. I mean, at the end of the day, they shut down in the new year and during the holiday season. People have bills to pay, and now they are out of a job, and unemployment is only going to cover so much. So these people are out of a job. They're having to find new jobs, even though the job market is pretty fluid right now, so you can find a job pretty quickly. But still, it's an inconvenience. It's scary for people to just be out of a job. So I think Morphe is absolutely shitty. Like, there's no question there. It's absolutely devastating, and it's just ridiculous what they did to these people. But I'm not surprised. It's Morphe. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not surprised by this. Their business practices with influencers, the way they go about their business, it was always underhanded. It was always shady. So this to me was not a surprise. But I think it's really shitty. It is really shitty to me. But I will say I saw this coming. There's no way that Morphe was gonna be sustainable in this marketplace. Like, it makes no sense. So many brands are shutting down that are doing better than them, or I thought was doing better than them. I mean, come on, Revlon? Becca? What are we talking about here? So Morphe to me did not grow and change with the influencer space and with the beauty space. As far as I'm concerned, they're still selling those 28 pan eyeshadow palettes and those scratchy brushes. Like, nothing has really evolved. They haven't made changes, like innovated, nothing. They didn't create like really fun products. ColourPop is out here like sweeping the game. We have Elf Cosmetics and other drugstore brands that are cost effective, that are making high quality products that people are enjoying, and Morphe's still out here making those 28 pan eyeshadow palettes that you can buy out of China in bulk. Are you serious? Just relying on influencers is not enough. Like, tossing a color story together and saying, oh, James Charles, like, that was not enough. They didn't move with the market, and that's why they're going under, quite frankly. I don't think they're gonna make it out of this bankruptcy filing. I think they're going to shut down. I really think so. Come on, like, what are they gonna do to save themselves? I don't see that they can rebrand. I don't see it happening. They haven't done anything different from inception, so it's just like, what are you gonna do? I mean, they tried a little bit, to be honest, when they created Morphe 2 to appeal to Gen Z that are more interested in lightweight, effortless makeup. So the beauty game has definitely changed, and Morphe has not kept up at all. And they haven't quite been able to catch their footing and regain that momentum that they had in the 2016, 2017, 2018 era of YouTube. They definitely have not been able to regain that growth that they have seen. I had to jump on really quick while I was editing to include something that I forgot to talk about. So not only did Morphe keep their employees in the dark about them closing down their stores, but they also kept the brands that they have inside their stores in the dark as well. So the owner of Suva Beauty spoke up about this on her Instagram account. I'll insert the videos after this, but that makes it even worse. So not only did the employees not know, but also the brands. Probably excluding Jaclyn Hill, because she's in the know when it comes to Morphe. But think about all the brands that are being sold in Morphe stores. They weren't told that the stores were shutting down, which means they're losing that access to the consumer. So now they're reverting back to being e-commerce only, online only, and the customers won't have a chance to go in store, swatch products, see them in person, which is something that I find valuable in the makeup space. While you can shop online for like electronics and other devices, maybe even clothing sometimes, going in store and actually touching the products, seeing them in person is a much better shopping experience. And these smaller indie brands that now had access to 50 or so Morphe stores, they no longer have that. And they don't necessarily have the resources or capital to launch in other larger retail stores such as Ulta and Sephora, even Macy's, Target. It's very difficult for a small brand to have the inventory available. I always say that word funny. Inventory. You know what I'm saying? Inventory to the amount of products, okay? They don't necessarily have that stock to be able to put products on the shelf of over 1,000 stores. So I understand the impact, not only on the employees now, but on these smaller brands. So that is something that we didn't really factor in, and I'm glad that the owner of Suva Beauty spoke up about it. And in the video that I'm gonna play right now, pay close attention to who and what she mentions got her access to Morphe stores. I found that very interesting. So let's go ahead, play those clips, and wrap up the video.
Breaking news, Morphe just dropped this tweet. I'm Faizad, CEO and founder of Suva Beauty, and my brand's in Morphe. And if you don't know, we've been selling in Morphe worldwide in all of their stores since 2019. And we're actually one of the top brands in Morphe. And here are some of the other brands they carry. So in the past month or so, we've been seeing a lot of people, specifically Morphe staff, posting about what's been happening. And just to let you know, as a brand sold in Morphe, we knew nothing about this. Actually, I was recently in Seattle at a Morphe store on October 9th, and the staff was just so excited about our new product launch. And if you were part of the Morphe retail staff, big props to you. My goodness, the most exceptional customer service I have ever seen. And on the executive level side, our buying team that we had since 2019, they were constantly trying to bring our brand to the forefront, which is, no wonder why we were one of the top brands being sold in Morphe. So I'm really appreciative of that. Anyways, I just want to share that with you. As more information becomes available, I will keep you updated and posted. I just want to say again, thank you so much for your support of Suva Beauty. Great question. I would love to go into another national global retailer, but the decision actually isn't as easy as some may think. There's a lot of considerations that the brand needs to make when deciding to go into a new retailer, and also vice versa, the retailer when deciding to onboard a new brand. Because I started Suva Beauty with the money from my own pocket, and I still run Suva Beauty with the money from my own pocket because we're an independently run beauty brand, unlike other brands which have a lot of private equity and capital. Some of the things that you do need to consider is RTV, gratis, sampling, VM buildouts, marketing, your time, specific products, exclusivity products, newness, and the timelines of newness. What does that actually mean? It means that you don't receive a PO and then you're just fulfilling that PO. It could be 1 year of conversation, another year of prep, and then, by the 3rd year, then that's when you're actually launching in store or online. And by that time, you could actually be out of pocket or in major deficit. So taking it back to Morphe, Morphe had 50 stores, and for an independent beauty brand, that's very doable to be able to look forward and support that growth. Whereas some of these other national retailers, they have like 1,000+ stores, and for an independent beauty brand to plan for that, you might not be onboarded into, all 1,000 right away, but are you able to support that if needed overnight? We've had conversations with every major beauty retailer you can think of, but these conversations can be lengthy, and it just has to be the right fit and time for both parties. Do I hope Morphe survives? Absolutely, I hope Morphe survives because it was a game changer in terms of providing you guys, our customers, the most important people, with more accessibility and visibility to our products. And another question that we get is, how did we even get into retail? And to answer that, one of the reasons why we got into Morphe is actually because of Jeffree Star. If you didn't catch the last video, I'm Shayna Azad, CEO and founder of Suva Beauty. And if you want to learn more and stay updated from the perspective of a beauty brand, then comment below.
And then mixed into all that were lawsuits that they were dealing with. So they have a lawsuit from the James Star. Oh my God, James Charles. So there was a lawsuit that was filed saying that that palette was declared as a pigment palette or just a shadow palette, but it was being demonstrated on the eyes, even though those shadows weren't technically safe for use around the eye area based on the FDA guidelines. So there's a lawsuit about that. Then they had a lawsuit from Playa, which is one of the brands under Forma. They're suing Forma Brands, that umbrella company, because they feel like their growth was limited or stunted under that Forma umbrella. They weren't incubated the way they thought they would be with marketing and like product development and pushing their products out there. So that's another lawsuit that they're contending with. So I just don't see how they're gonna find a way out. And it's the end of an era. Morphe was an era, okay? Say what you will. And I always give credit where credit is due. It was an era, okay? It was the boom of the beauty influencer on YouTube, like beauty gurus, okay? That was their time. 2016, 17, 18, listen, all right? It was a time to be alive. But you know what? Some brands come and some brands go, and it's just the name of the game. Capitalism is the way it is. The US is structured the way it is. The laws are in place for them to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy and negotiate with their creditors on where their debt stands. So it's like, this is all going to be written off as a loss, and here we are, all right? I am getting very greasy. Anyway, I'm done talking because I think I talked way too much. It's my first car chat back, and I rambled because, again, I love talking about these types of topics where I can dive into the history of it all, because I was literally there to see it all. So there you have it. Morphe is closing all its stores. It has closed all its stores. These employees are the ones that are really being impacted. They're the only ones that I feel any kind of sympathy for. I hope they're able to find new jobs and get some sense of job security with their new companies, and they're not treated the same way that Morphe treated them, because these are people at the end of the day, and you know, everybody deserves to be treated fairly in a money driven world. So I'm just hoping that those people are able to recover, and I could care less if Morphe never recovers. I'm just concerned about the people that are impacted. So that's it. I'm gonna go now. Oh, wait. Let me jump in here before I go. If you guys expect any of these large influencers to make a statement regarding the employees and impact on them, yeah, good luck. The only one that will probably comment is Jeffree Star, that is just elated at the downfall of one of his enemies, because he has spoken out about Morphe since they cut ties with him. He's not a fan, okay? So I can see him talking shit, okay? That's just who he is. But Jaclyn Hill, she's not gonna make a comment. You know she's not gonna make a comment. She doesn't make content unless it's gonna make her money, and this is not gonna make her money, so she's gonna just try to fly under the radar and stay out of the smoke. So don't expect anything from her. James Charles, I don't know. Like, he's over here trying to recruit straight men into a sexual relationship with him. So don't expect a response from these people. They're just as money hungry and callous as Morphe is. So I don't expect any of them to really speak up about it, and that's where it's gonna stay. Thank you so much for joining me on this long rambling journey of overheating cameras and the dramatics of it all. Until my next video, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you. Bye guys.